This episode of the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour is sponsored by the law offices of Alfred Guillaume III, a boutique criminal defense firm located in Washington, D.C. The firm specializes in defending federal criminal cases. You can learn more about the firm by visiting our website at guillaumelaw.com. That's GUILLAUME law.com. Welcome back to the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour. She's here. She's back. She never left. My friend, the ultimate entrepreneur, attorney Nakia Gray. And we are here to talk music.
Let's talk about the music.
Let's talk about the music. Oh, I can't wait. So, as you've learned, we have a tradition here at the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour where we have you dig through the crates. Yeah. There's lots of vinyl records here in the space, and we have you dig through the crates and pull out, let's back up for just a second. You put out like 50 albums, so you couldn't put them all on the table, so I had to have you slow down. You were getting a little too excited, so I said, let's just start with like maybe 5 or 6 albums. So you pulled out 5 albums that were meaningful to you in some way.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about, matter of fact, you didn't even make it to the second crate. You were going so crazy on the first crate. I said, let's just stop and let's just go with what you pulled out. And we edited it a little bit. So we came up with these 5 records that are on the table, and we'll pick them up as we talk about them so you can see what they are, what they look like for our folks that are watching this. And let's start off with the first album. We're going to start off in chronological order.
Okay.
And you may not know, but I know what the order is.
I do too.
Okay, excuse me.
No, I'm going to follow your lead.
Okay. The first album that you pulled, which might be a surprise, it was a surprise to me actually, was N.W.A. Straight Outta Compton.
Yes.
Okay? 1988. This was actually the first rap album that I ever bought with my own little allowance money, whatever I had at the time.
Yeah.
And I was, we are the same age, born in the same year, same sign. So, although you are just a little bit older than me.
I knew he was going to say that.
So I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. Tell me about this album. Tell me about your memories of it and why you picked it out, why you chose it.
So I was in 6th grade. I remember so vividly that when we got our first CD player and my dad got his first albums, I don't think that before that, I can remember liking rap. I remember,
Right, because it was still pretty new
rap.
at the time.
It was pretty new, but I had the extent of rap that I heard was on the radio.
Right.
So I had
Which wasn't much, probably.
Which wasn't much. So, and my dad was not a big rap person.
Right, but my dad didn't listen to rap at all. So your dad was actually cool.
Yeah.
So
my dad was not a big rap person, but he bought this.
He actually purchased it.
That's
crazy.
CD. So for me,
and you had a CD? I had this on a tape at the time.
So the obsession with hearing all this cursing was just, I felt like a cool kid.
So for those people who don't know, and most people probably do, N.W.A.'s gangster rap out of Los Angeles. Yeah. Eazy-E, Ice Cube, MC Ren, DJ Yella, Dr. Dre. It was, they actually had an album before this album, but this is many people confuse this album as being their first. It's actually not their first album, but it's the first album that reached this level of success.
Yeah.
And for me, my favorite track on the album was Dope Man. Is still to this day Dope Man. Dope Man with Ice Cube when
Ice Cube is just iconic.
And I've said this a million times, but I'm more geared towards East Coast rap. My mother's from Los Angeles, and I spent a lot of time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's from LA. I spent a lot of time in LA, my life. But I'm an East Coast kind of guy musically speaking. I'm from the South, but I'm an East Coast kind of guy musically speaking. And
I think I'm more West Coast.
Interesting. You know what? That's not DC people. A lot of folks, you're from DC, District of Columbia. A lot of folks I've met since I've been living here for the last 20-something years are the same as you.
We're not big rap people. And New York rap, East Coast rap is a little too hardcore. I think.
Some of it is, yeah, like Black Moon or some of the like more like lyrically driven stuff.
Yeah, so I definitely gravitate more to.
You like the West.
West.
You know what? I don't even think you got that far, but Dr. Dre, The Chronic is in there as well. I don't even think you saw that.
I saw that one. I almost pulled it.
Okay, it's interesting that you didn't pull it.
I know. Only because I had
pulled so many records.
But I did. But that was definitely one that I looked at.
So one of the things that we talked about off camera was that you were really an N.W.A. fan because you said, was this album before or after Eazy-E's solo album? We Want Easy.
Oh my God. I used to, y'all, listen. I was obsessed with Eazy-E.
Wow.
Obsessed with Eazy-E.
Interesting.
And I can't really.
The Jerry curl and all that?
The Jerry curl.
Rest in peace, Eazy-E.
Yeah. The Jerry curl and all that. And I think it was first it was just the cursing and just me feeling like.
He had swagger. He had a lot of swagger.
And it was the beats. I mean, it was a time.
The
it was a good time.
were
the beats were
so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the only way to describe it, right?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And I was a kid. And my parents, again, they had.
We were young kids.
Yeah, well, I was a little younger than you. But I mean, in 88, I was 11 years old at the end of the year. Yeah. So were you. And
we were in 6th grade.
I had no business buying this album.
Right.
The stuff that they're talking about. I didn't even understand half of it.
Right.
But somebody sold it to me because I was sure didn't buy it, which is really kind of ridiculous when you think about it. Like my kids now, if I would never let them listen
to this. I know.
Something like this.
Yeah.
As great as this album is, never in a million years I let my children listen to this at this stage in their life.
Yeah.
So you were a kid, and your dad bought it. So your dad is a cool dad.
My dad is a cool dad. My dad is DC born and raised. He was very into go-go was a big thing. He wasn't a big into
Tell us about
rap.
go-go for people who don't know what go-go is.
Go-go is native to DC. It is our sound. It is percussion.
The song The Butt is a go-go song.
It is, but it's not the real go-go.
Right,
I mean,
it's
that's commercialized go-go.
Okay.
It's not, put your one leg up, put your booty on the floor.
Shout out some go-go bands and some go-go songs.
We got Rare Essence, Junkyard.
All right.
Lil Benny, Sugar Bear, Maisha and the Hip Huggers.
And I actually went to, I love musicianship, right? So I'm from New Orleans. We invented jazz. We have our own style of jazz. But the ability to play an instrument and to play with other people, it takes talent, it takes practice, it takes dedication. It's hard work. It's not to say that other music is not as hard, but go-go is actual people playing instruments. It's a band.
It's a band.
And they sing a lot of covers of other popular songs.
Yeah.
And
their versions are always better.
Yeah, I mean, go-go music from a guy. And again, I'm not a big. I don't dislike go-go at all. But to go, I'm not gonna probably buy or listen to it. But if I go to a go-go concert, a go-go club, it is a really awesome experience.
It is.
I mean, and I feel like now in 2023, it's fading out a little bit. It's not as.
It is, and that's true. My husband and I, it just burns us that our children are not into it. That the next generation, they're not into it. They think it's so whack. They are hate to hear us listening to it. But my dad was so big into go-go, and rap was not a big thing.
Right.
But it was something about N.W.A. and Eazy-E that he liked, and I liked it. And so that's
amazing. I never heard anybody in my 45 years of life talk about their father listening to N.W.A.
I know.
Shout out to your pops. A lot of respect. That's a cool dude, man. So you have that memory from that record. And what's your favorite song on the record? Do you have a favorite song that you remember?
Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, so the first track.
Yes, absolutely.
Straight Outta Compton. All right.
And also, I feel like at this time it was just a time of.
It was new, right?
It was new. It was unlike anything.
It was unlike anything.
If it was anything before it, I hadn't been exposed to it.
There wasn't.
So for me, it was just, it was new. It was like, ooh.
This was it. There was nothing like it before. Or even since, one can argue.
Yeah.
And it was pure. It was organic. And
raw, real. And they were so relatable. I mean, they were like the boys in our hoods.
This is the next album that you chose.
Yeah.
My favorite Tupac album of all time, Me Against the World.
Listen.
1993.
Yes.
What do you remember about this album? What does this album mean to you? What's significant about this particular album?
Well, one of my aunts, and she actually passed away in 94. I was very, very close to her. And she was in love with Tupac.
Nice. A lot of people were.
Also, this is right after Poetic Justice.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes. Oh, how could you forget about that?
Well, I forgot that they was in time, that they were close related in time.
So this was after that. And we used to, my aunt, Tracy, we would watch Poetic Justice. I know I could literally sit here and recite the entire thing.
Wow, I believe you.
My brother and I just on Sunday, we were watching the BET Awards and we did the scene with Tupac and Janet Jackson in the van, and we just
in the van.
Yeah, and we in the mail truck.
I'm familiar with
when they had the argument when they first get on the road, and we just did the whole scene.
Just by memory.
By memory.
And you hadn't seen the movie probably in a while.
Haven't seen the movie in years, but that's how, yes, we were obsessed with it. And really, I can't say that I really remember Tupac before the movie, honestly. Wasn't real too familiar with him.
I knew him from Digital Underground, All Around the World, same song. This is the first, and shout out against my co-creator who's off camera, who probably exposed me to this particular album, because he used to play, you remember Lord Knows? He used to play that song? Still play it. Right. I mean, that's got we talk about hard beat. I mean, we used to ride around in this car in New Orleans bumping this album. And
Tupac.
I mean, Lord Knows is probably, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say it's my favorite Pac song ever. I got to think about that for a second. And, full disclosure, I'm a Biggie guy. We have the debate Biggie versus Pac. Let me ask you, Biggie or Pac? Who you taking?
I'm gonna have to go Tupac.
Wow, you went Pac.
I'm gonna have to go. I think that he's, and I'm a little obsessed with Tupac. I actually just finished the documentary,
Dear Mama.
Yes.
I haven't finished it.
Yeah. And I think it's the intelligence.
He was so intelligent.
He was so intelligent.
Charismatic.
Yes. I think that he just has more depth, I believe. And I think that's probably why I'm a little more drawn to him. I love Biggie too. Don't get me wrong.
And actually, I mean, I think the cameras will pick up, but right behind you, we always ask our guests what record they want to be displayed behind them, and you chose Biggie's album. You chose the first album. You chose Ready to Die.
Biggie's a great rapper, and also
1994, Ready to Die, one of the greatest albums of all time.
All of these that I've chosen, I don't know if you can pick up this theme, were all I don't want to say necessarily monumental, but they all
absolutely were.
They all were.
Well, you chose the first album of
trailblazers, so to speak.
Almost every person.
Yeah.
Two out of five. There's not their first albums. We haven't gotten to the other two yet, but
more than their first album, it was the change of an era. I feel like.
Right.
I feel like they all
that's interesting.
all had a piece.
Right, and you know what? That's actually very, very well spoken, because looking at these 5 albums on the table, I would agree 100%. Actually,
yes, they were.
I don't know if that was intentional or not, or you just
you
just made that up. But
it wasn't. But I think that speaks to the impact, right?
Right.
Like it's like, this. I can remember this being. They were not the very first, but they were the first of that kind or of that speed, right? And so and for all of the ones that I chose.
For Tupac's, for this to kind of close the loop on that, I mean, this album for me is my favorite album. He would release the double album, All Eyes on Me, 1996. After this one, he was with Death Row. And this album, he's not with Death Row. He's right before he goes to prison, right before he's shot. All around the same time as this album came out. And, it's a time in his life where it's just really, really, really a lot going on with him personally, as well as professionally in the music industry, his career. So this is, for me, his best work. I mean, he's got more albums, Pac does, than Biggie. Biggie only has 2 when he was alive, right? There's been some posthumous albums, which I don't really consider and when I'm talking about this. But Biggie's 2 other albums, or only 2 albums, actually, when he was alive. And actually, Life After Death happened, I believe it was released after he passed, if I'm not mistaken. So he only
I think so.
Right,
Yeah.
like shortly after. So he only had 1 album released when he was alive. I'm a Biggie person, but I love Pac. I love Pac's voice.
So if you got to pick, who you picking?
I'm picking Biggie.
Really?
I am. I mean,
wow.
But I'm
kind of surprised at that.
Nah, I'm a New York guy at heart. I mean, but Pac is. I love Pac, but I love Biggie more. But anyway,
okay,
we're gonna continue on this journey that you've with your record. So who's next, Miss Historian?
It's Jay-Z. Is Jay-Z before Lauren?
Oh, you just disappoint me.
It's
so
Lauren?
much. Yes, child. How could you?
The Blueprint was not after.
The Blueprint was 2001. September 11, 2001 is when it was released.
Lauren. So let me tell you about Lauren.
Okay. So
this is my favorite on the table.
This
is my favorite on the table.
The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, 1998, I think was the release. It was the release date. It might have been 98 or 99. I'm going to tell you something.
It was not 99.
Before you leave today, we're going to listen to a record that is a Nina Simone, Lauryn Hill mashup by a DJ named Amerigo Gazaway, called The Miseducation of Eunice Wayman, which is it's amazing. And if you like this album, you'll love that album. So, but anyway, let's talk Lauren, who's my number 1 of all time, by the way.
My number 1 of all time. My favorite on the table.
Well, tell me why.
Lauren, this album was my therapy in college, okay?
You'd have been about a senior in college.
It was my senior year.
Right, senior in college.
It was my senior year in college. It might even have been...
It was your senior year. You graduated when, 1999?
99.
Yeah, this was your senior year.
This album, everything.
Every
track. No
Honestly,
skips.
How much time you got? Because,
no skips.
As my friend Dave Clooney says...
And I still listen to it now.
Press play. It's a press play album. You don't...
Yeah.
Yeah, you just press play.
Listen, it is no skips all the way through. And to this very day, I still listen to this album.
She can sing.
She can sing.
She can rap.
Yes.
What she says is more on point than anybody
ever.
Really. Her body of work is small. She only had
powerful.
2 albums. This one and the Unplugged album, which is not not a rap album.
Right.
I said it before. I'll say it again. Mount Rushmore, she's on there.
It's my favorite on the table by far. Not even close.
1999. Next
is Jay-Z.
September 11th, 2001.
Yeah.
And tell me about the Blueprint. Tell me about this album, what it means to you.
I was not because I'm not a... So let me go back. College. My college roommate was from Philly. She really introduced me.
Shout out to Philly. So is my wife. Shout out Philly.
She really introduced me to more hip hop than I was. DC, it was go-go, and then a few, Tupac,
N.W.A.
Biggie,
Yeah, you like some cursing. Good cursing.
But she introduced me to Method Man and, all.
Can I ask you something real quick? Before you just threw out Method Man randomly. I want to ask you something.
Because that was her favorite.
Right. Now.
And who I did not even know till I met her.
Okay, interesting. I'm a Wu-Tang guy.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Wu-Tang fan. We had, another guest on here who you also know. I'm not gonna shout her out because she's another married woman who has a crush on Meth Man. I just want to know: are you in the same boat?
I wouldn't say crush. I wouldn't say crush because I am married.
Right, but this is not real.
The man is fine. And my roommate,
you heard it here, folks.
My roommate is who I didn't even know who he was.
Wow.
And she was so obsessed with him. And then
everybody loves Meth. I had no idea.
Oh yeah. Yes.
But not for lyrically, just because how he looks.
Yes. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you a song that he had. I don't even know any of his songs.
The song Mary J. All I Need.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Right.
So my roommate also introduced me to Jay-Z. I didn't really know Jay-Z like that. Wasn't really into Jay-Z like that. She introduced me to him, and my husband was really into him. So this was his favorite album. So that's,
So The Blueprint is an amazing album. It marked the transition of Jay-Z the rapper into Jay-Z the mogul, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's the first introduction we have to Kanye West. And at the time, we don't even know it. He actually shouts him out on the album, but at the time, I don't know what he's saying. I don't know who he's talking about.
Yeah.
But Kanye's beats on this album.
But that's another reason why I chose this, because this was also an evolutionary period for Jay-Z.
Exactly. He became more of who he is now than who he was before. Before he was the drug dealer. He was, he was kind of fitting the mold of everybody else around him at the time. He really broke away from the pack with this album and subsequent albums. Yeah, well, some would say thanks to Kanye. I mean, he didn't do every beat, but he did a lot of the beats.
Yeah.
This is a great album. I mean, I think this is, I don't know how to think about. I love the Black Album, which I don't even think you got. We had the Black Album as well in the vinyl collection. I don't think you got that.
What songs are on there?
On what's the Black Album?
Yeah.
Encore is one a lot of people know. Dirt Off Your Shoulder. December 4th. Oh, wow. You know them if you hear them.
Okay.
Right. 99 Problems.
Oh, yeah, okay. There you go.
You know.
That was before this.
That was after that. That was in law school. That was 04 when he was supposed to retire, which is a genius move, which we knew he was never going to retire.
We knew he wasn't,
But he just was, Jay-Z's a smart guy. You know what? He's a Sag.
I know.
So, shout out to...
September 4th. I mean, December 4th.
Okay, yeah, come on, child. Come on. I know you had a long day, but come on now.
September 4th is Beyonce.
Beyonce. I know that's what you meant to say when you said it. She's a Virgo.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a great album. And it was between this and the Black Album for me. And actually, in Reasonable Doubt, the first album, which might be my favorite Jay-Z. I don't know. It's hard. And then 444 is another one.
444 is a good one. That's a very good one.
But that's because
I didn't see that one over there.
That's because
But that wasn't a change either. I wouldn't have picked that one. I would not have picked that over this, because I definitely feel that this was evolutionary.
It was. And it's a good
444, it's a great album, but it wasn't anything that we didn't.
Right.
Hadn't
He's talking about some grown man stuff in that.
He did, but
Right.
Yeah.
No, I can dig it. So last but not least, you chose this album, which is Kanye West's first album, which was law school. It was law school for us, right?
Was it 4?
Wait, this is 2004, so it's when it came out. So, you was there in 04.
Yeah, I went in 03.
Yeah, right. So, this is 2004.
Yeah.
So this is a great album. My favorite song, College Dropout is the name of the first album. Late Registration is his second album, which is one of my...
That's a tight one.
Yeah, it's about to say. That's why I said it. It's a tight race.
I didn't see that one.
You never got...
But
I
still would have picked this. The introduction to Kanye and what he did for rap, I think...
What do you think he did? What is your...
I think that he made it cool and not so hard. I think that he's fly. He dressed fly. He was confident. He had swag.
Look on the record cover.
Yeah, look at this.
He's got a blazer.
Look at this. Pink polos.
He got a sweater, khakis. This is not the uniform of hip hop artists. Yeah. Compared to like N.W.A. and Tupac.
Yes.
Even Jay-Z.
So he started that though.
He was preppy. Kanye was preppy. I was preppy. I am preppy. Yeah. That's my
He was preppy. And so that for me that was good to see. That was good to see.
Right.
And I think that and
his sample game. We talk about samples.
Well, and that's why Biggie's there too.
Well, Bad Boy. I mean, Bad Boy Puffy, he was notorious for using soul samples.
Yes.
That music from our parents.
Yes.
From their generation, and just introducing it as if it was his own. Do you know there's a story about Puffy? Real quick, I just saw this not too long ago. The sample that he used from the song from Sting.
Yes.
Do you know this story?
Yes.
And he didn't, without permission.
Yes.
And I think
he's still paying for it.
He's still paying for it. I mean, I think he has to pay for the rest of his life.
Yes.
For the that he used. So, you know, we know you're an intellectual property lawyer.
Yes.
If you're going to use somebody's sample,
Get permission.
Get permission. You should probably go consult an attorney.
Yes, absolutely.
Such as yourself.
Yes.
To make sure everything's in order.
Yes.
So you're not paying millions of dollars
Yes.
for the rest of your life. Shout out to Puff. Shout out to Sting. Sting is a great. Sting. I have a Sting album in there as well. I love Sting. Englishman in New York is probably my favorite. I don't know if you're familiar with that song, but that's my.
I'm not.
It's a great song.
Can't say that I am.
Right. It's a great song. The Police. You know the Police. That was the group he was in before he went solo. Message in a Bottle is another great song by the Police. Roxanne. You know Roxanne. You know Roxanne from you've seen 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy?
Yes.
You remember when he was singing the song Roxanne in the jail cell?
Yes.
That's the Police. That's their song. And Sting was the lead singer of the Police. I know we went on a little bit of a road there.
Okay.
Back to Kanye. Kanye was different. He was
different.
And he didn't shy away from being different.
He didn't.
And, you know, one of the best, to me, the best song on this album, which gets no play, is the last song on the album called
What's the last song?
Last Call. It's basically, it's him talking about his struggles and his journey to what brought him to this first album. If you haven't really, because people will not really, it's not really a song. It's more him talking.
Yeah.
Na 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 na. That's kind of the beat. You know,
it's hard for me to. It's so many hits on this album.
It's amazing. Two Words is another. With Most Def and Freeway is a great song. The Most Def verse is one of my favorite verses.
I'm gonna have to go with Through the Wire.
Through the Wire, of course, with the Shaka Khan sample, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Shaka Khan, another one of my all-time favorites.
It's your zone.
It is. I am in my zone. Like I said, I'm a frustrated musician, artist, producer. I think I'm Quincy Jones. I think I'm Stevie Wonder. I mean, you know, I got a lot going on. I think I'm John Coltrane. This is why we go to the Lloyd's Hip Hop Happy Hour. So, other than these 5 albums, what artist would you say, of any genre, is the most important or your favorite for you in your lifetime?
Only person missing would be Beyonce. I mean, I think
you love Beyonce.
I love Beyonce.
I often argue with my wife. I say that Beyonce is the Diana Ross of this generation, and she's really should be mentioned. For me, the top. I'm gonna give you my Mount Rushmore of non-hip hop artists.
Okay.
I'm gonna go not in any particular order, but Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Prince.
Absolutely.
Beyonce.
Absolutely.
And I'm hit you with this one. Madonna. I'm going Madonna.
I can see that.
Who's bigger than Madonna?
Who's bigger than Madonna? I can see that.
Prince and Michael Jackson, maybe.
Yeah. I can see that.
And I think Beyonce deserves to be with them because
absolutely
what Beyonce has accomplished, I think none of them, I mean, okay, yes, Beyonce had a blueprint of other artists, but her longevity is just incredible.
It is.
She's still making hits.
She's still making hits.
I mean, that's hard to do. I mean, Michael Jackson even had a period where he was not as popular as he was, you know, when he had, I mean, for me, Michael Jackson has 3 albums as a solo artist, Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad.
Yeah.
There's probably no albums that can touch those. I mean, it's not, maybe not Off the Wall, but Thriller and Bad in particular.
Yeah.
That are just, to this day, you can't really touch. Thriller is the perfect album. There's there's nothing wrong with it. But Prince had a lot more albums. He had Prince had a lot of albums. Madonna had a nice amount too, but Beyonce's had a lot as well. But Michael Jackson had a point where he just kind of, and even Prince became a little bit more obscure.
Yeah.
Beyonce has remained relevant this entire time.
At the top alone.
Rihanna is her closest competition.
And she's not close.
Ooh.
And she's not close.
Wow.
And I love her. I love me some Riri.
Woo. That's
But she's
crazy.
not even close. But she's the closest, but she's not even close.
Wow. I mean, I don't think I can disagree with that.
Yeah.
Have you listened to the new album, The Renaissance, from Beyonce?
Have I listened to it?
Hello. I mean, I had to ask.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm going to see her in a couple weeks next month.
Can I say something real quick before we go? I mean, this is a thing, and I don't know, maybe you can help me understand, because you're a social media queen, but I haven't seen you do this yet. But I've seen a lot of people that we know, you and I know, particularly that we went to school with, that are going to see Beyonce in different countries.
Yes.
Is that a thing? Like, what is that all about?
Yeah, and it's interesting because I feel like this is the first time that's happening. I will tell you, for me, I have always every tour that I've been on has been out of the area.
Out of the DC
area.
Out of the
DC area.
Okay.
So I have seen her twice in Baltimore.
Well, that's the DC area.
Yeah.
Not if you're from DC.
No. I'm saying
okay.
no. I'm saying I've seen her twice in Baltimore, but other than that, I've always every tour we make it a girls trip kind of weekend thing, and I thought that was what that was just a fun thing to do. But I have noticed this time that everyone is doing out of the country.
Out of the country.
It's a big deal for people.
It's kind of a stunt move.
Personally,
Germany and France. I mean,
there were a lot of people that went to see her in Paris. And
come on. We know.
It was a lot. For me, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
You know where I'm going?
I'm going to New York.
Madison Square Garden. Next question. That's it. That's the Mecca.
Yeah. I'm going to New York. I went to Philly. I've seen her in Philly. Saw her in Brooklyn.
Wow. How many times have you seen Beyonce?
Every
like maybe 10 times or more.
B-Day was my first. I took my daughter. She was 12 years old.
Wow. You are a fan. A super fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've gone on the run with her and Jay-Z.
Wow. Super
I did
fan.
that one in Baltimore. And I didn't do the second one. I bought a ticket, but my daughter, it was a weekend. We had to take her back to school. So I sold my ticket.
Wow. So
I did Lemonade in Philly.
Wow. I'm impressed.
Mrs. Carter World Tour in
Get it.
Barclays
Let's go.
And
All
I
right.
was hoping Jay-Z would have came out. He didn't, but.
Oh, he didn't come out on stage?
He didn't come out.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
We were trying to do Houston for this one because Houston is always her best show.
Right. The hometown.
Her hometown.
Wow. That's amazing. So goes without saying for you, Beyonce beats Janet Jackson.
Yeah. And I love Janet.
Right.
I absolutely love Janet.
Some would say that Janet is the reason Beyonce is as successful as she is.
I would have a hard time understanding how.
Really?
Yeah.
You really think that? I mean, Janet, which female
Janet's
artist?
no Beyonce. Here's why.
Okay, explain to me.
Janet is a great performer.
Right.
She's not a great singer.
Did you hear her first album? Have you?
She's okay. She's no Beyonce. She doesn't have the range Beyonce has.
Okay.
She does not.
If we're going singers, I mean, I have my number one, and it's not even close. I hope you have the same person. I'm going to ask you, who's your number one female singer of all time? This is not even, Nikki, you're taking too long. This is an easy question.
Okay, tell me.
Just no. I'm going to let you tell me yours.
I
No.
don't know.
You don't know.
The best singer? Whitney Houston.
Of course. Okay, thank you. All right.
Whitney.
I was starting to get a little worried.
I'm sorry.
Right. Yes. It's not even close.
Yeah, Whitney. Agreed. But I'm not saying what I am saying.
Well, Beyonce is not Whitney, right?
Beyonce is not Whitney.
Whitney's wasn't a performer.
And Whitney wasn't a performer.
Right. No, she was a singer.
And to me, I feel that with Janet. Janet can sing. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying Janet Jackson can't
Funny how
sing.
time flies when you're having fun. I mean, what?
She's no Beyonce. I'm sorry.
Control? I mean,
she's no Beyonce.
Shout out to Janet Jackson.
I can give her many shout outs. I love her.
I know what you're saying. I'm just giving you a hard time.
She doesn't have the star quality that Beyonce has.
Hold on a minute. She's got plenty of star quality.
I didn't say she didn't have any. I said she does not have the star quality that Beyonce has.
But clearly Beyonce is the closest person to Janet. There are different generations, right? So Janet and Beyonce are the closest in stylistically.
Agreed.
Right. So Janet did it first. That is not to say that she did it better, but she did it first.
Correct. So I can agree with that.
Beyonce had a prototype from which to operate from, right? I mean, there was Janet, and she has her own style. They're not the same. I'm not saying that at all, but Janet didn't have anybody.
I would
So
even.
this-
It's
she
hard
had
for me.
other people, but not in that style.
I feel like the comparison is even closer with Beyonce and Michael than Beyonce and
From
Janet.
being a pure superstar,
yeah,
sure.
I just don't
Janet's
see it that way.
not a pure.
But I
Well,
I
she's a
can see the
superstar, actually. Let me take
comparison.
that
I can
back.
see why people would make the
Well,
comparison
because she's
they're
a female.
both women.
She's a woman, right?
Yeah.
That's what they have in common. And I think Janet Jackson is probably ranking number 2. I would agree with you that Beyonce is a bigger star than Janet was, but Janet was a super. You were alive.
Agreed.
In the late 80s, early 90s.
I agree.
Rhythm Nation.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come
Absolutely.
on.
I'm not taking that from
The
her.
dance,
at all.
her dancing. Wait, you know what? I'm gonna think about this a little bit. Janet, she had all the moves. She had nobody was like her.
I'm not saying
Because you
that
had
she's
Janet
not.
Jackson, Mariah Carey, and Whitney Houston in that era.
Yeah.
Whitney's the best singer. Mariah's a close second.
Some people would argue.
Some people would
that.
argue, but they'd be wrong.
I think they'd be wrong.
They'd
too.
be wrong because Mariah Carey's, God bless her, but her voice did not last as long. And Whitney
Correct.
lost her voice too.
Yeah.
But no. Whitney
I agree.
effortlessly
Agreed.
could sing.
Agreed.
Never seen
Look,
rest in
I'm
peace,
giving
Whitney
Janet her
Houston.
flowers. I will.
Right. She's not dead. I mean, don't.
You know what I'm saying. I give her.
Right.
Janet definitely dominated, and it's still. I mean, I've heard her show this year. This tour she's on now is amazing,
And she's
old.
well, she's older. She's not
She's old. I mean, she's been doing this a long time.
long time. Her whole family has, and she's the second most talented Jackson sibling.
It's interesting though. I don't ever hear anybody compare what you just said. People don't even have the conversation about Beyonce and Janet. Most of the time, if they're doing that, it's Beyonce compared to Michael. I don't ever hear anyone doing.
Well, because she's a woman, and because Janet laid the foundation. Just as like when we talk about when you bring it into hip hop, you talk about Little Kim being, in my opinion, the most impactful artist of our generation of a certain type for women.
Agreed.
The Nicki Minaj and the Cardi B's would not be here,
exist. I agree.
but for Kim.
Absolutely.
But people, say Nicki Minaj is more talented. I'm not gonna say Cardi B is, but Nicki Minaj is more talented than Kim, and she's got more records. And Kim kind of never could achieve the success after that first album.
Yeah.
But without Kim, Kim is so important to the culture.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Love Kim. And that first
I
record.
probably would have put her on this table if I had gotten to her.
Right. I don't have her vinyl record.
Okay.
I need to get that.
Kim for sure. Yeah, I agree with you. Cardi's not going to be in that conversation.
Nicki Minaj got talent. Like, he's undeniable.
And I'm a Barb. I love Nicki too. I absolutely love Nicki.
But Kim, there would be no Nicki.
There would be no Nicki without Kim. Agreed.
Right. I think even she knows that.
Yeah.
It's not really much in dispute there.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to know that you are such a huge Beyonce fan. I don't think I knew that you were.
Oh, yes.
I know you liked her.
Absolutely.
But is she, to you, better than Michael? Tough question, because you were alive for both.
I was alive for both.
And Michael Jackson
my first concert ever was Michael Jackson.
Yeah, we're going to end on that.
It's hard. I don't like to do those comparisons because the times are different, and the platforms, the resources, all those things are different.
So that would mean Michael would win because there's less ability to promote yourself than there is now. Beyonce has all the opportunities in the world to do it. So I don't know. Maybe you think Michael's.
I wouldn't say that, but I just think
no internet. That enough said, right? No internet. No 24/7 television coverage. No Disney Plus specials that Beyonce's gotten.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the hard part of that conversation is where Michael's career went. And I don't think that he stayed on top.
He didn't.
And that's the part. Those of us who love him like to just ignore that, right?
Right.
We don't want to have that conversation. So that's the hard. That's
his albums weren't a complete failure, but they weren't.
But they
could never ever achieve the success of Thriller or Bad.
And that's not an issue with Beyonce. So that's the hardest part for me to.
I'm gonna throw this out there, and then we'll leave on this note because I know you have to go. Beyonce was not a child star. If you take Michael Jackson's
Agreed.
catalog as a child,
Yeah.
I think he comes out on top, in my opinion.
I think the issue that I have with that is that I think you have to look at the career as a whole. And I think when you start to decline, it diminishes the value.
Yeah.
That's the issue that I'm having with Michael.
But she doesn't
And
have
that hasn't happened yet.
the child status. She doesn't. So I guess time will tell.
Time will tell. Time will tell. So that for me is what makes it.
But also, I keep saying we're going to end on this. But also, Beyonce has never had that one album that can equal a Thriller or a Bad. She's had a lot of success.
Yeah.
But the album as an entity is a one singular thing standing alone. Thriller is in there. You didn't get to it, but it's in there. 1982.
Yeah, but again, I think this is why I don't like having these conversations, because the times are different. Albums just don't do what they did. I don't think anybody is going to ever have that. And it's not because they're not great. It's just the nature. Our world is different now. So I think that could be a part of it, is what I'm saying. It's not, I just don't know that it's possible that we will ever have that.
Well,
because the bar is just where it is.
Yeah.
So and we'll end on that note.
We'll end on that note. Attorney Nakia Gray, my friend, the ultimate entrepreneur. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. This is so much fun.
I truly appreciate it. I hope you come back, because I don't know that many people, so I need all the guest appearances I can get. Thank you for joining us on this month's segment of the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour. Please follow the podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Lawyers Hip Hop Happy Hour. I'll see you next month. Catch you on the B-side.